Tell us a bit about yourself and what you did as a kid for fun.
Well, I grew up on a farm in Forest City, which is about 2 hours northwest of here by Mason City. And we had a traditional farm where we had dairy cattle with milk cows, and we had the hogs and the chickens and the crops. And so I grew up there. We had learned a lot of work ethic. We learned responsibility. We learned accountability because we had to work together as a team. And I graduated from Forest City, and then I went on to Waldorf College in Forest City and spent 2 years there. I was active in sports, so I played football and golf and baseball. And from there, I went to Wartburg College and graduated from Wartburg College, and have been in Waverly ever since.
Did you get drafted or did you enlist? How did that work?
I was, my senior year of Wartburg, I was drafted. That was when they came out with the lottery system. And I was drafted in my senior year, but I had a deferment, college deferment back then, so I was able to graduate from the college, and then in September of '69 I was drafted in the Army. And that was kind of interesting too, because former Governor Branstad and the ambassador to China right now, we grew up together, and we were inducted in the Army together. And we flew out and drafted the same day. So we were drafted, and we both went to Fort Polk, Louisiana for our basic training. And then from there, he went on a different direction. I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma with the artillery.
What was it like being in the military, being non-combat?
Well, good question, because originally I was trained to be in the combat scenario. I was trained as what they call an FO, which is a foreign observer, which means you're with the combat people, and if you get under attack or hit, it was my responsibility to call in artillery rounds. Fortunately, I had a degree in business. I knew how to type, and the small fire base that I was stationed at needed a personnel director. And I said, I'll do it. So that's where I ended up for my next 14 months in Vietnam. And when you look at combat versus non-combat, when you're in the military, everybody's got a job. Everybody's assigned a responsibility and accountability and teamwork. So consequently, it doesn't make any difference whether you're in the combat scenario, which is the worst area you could be in, but again, the back room, whether it's the mechanic that's fixing and repairing, the person behind the desk, which I ended up being, we all had responsibilities and accountabilities because as a team, we needed to work together. So, I had my responsibilities, others had theirs as well. So I look at it and say, yeah, fortunately I was not in the combat scenario, but we still support each other.
What did you do after the war?
Pardon me?
What did you do after the war?
What I did, and I still do it, is in the financial service industry. In other words, I'm helping families, have helped families, businesses to provide for loss of income, whether it's due to death, disability, or retirement. So we do the planning for all the families and businesses, and I've done that for over 50 years already, and still doing it, because I love working with people and giving back.
Are you still connected with friends that you had during the war?
Very few of them. Very few of them. As we've aged, and as I've aged, I've learned a number of the people around Waverly that were in the Vietnam era that I was not aware of early on. And a number of those people around Waverly, we've connected pretty closely. And because we can share our own stories and we respect each other. And whereas, when you're growing, you're so active with your families in the younger years that you don't really think much about it. And the Vietnam era was not a popular area anyway. So there was not a lot of talk about it until probably, I would say, at least the last 5 to 10 years, where it's kind of come to a head that the respect wasn't probably given to the vets during that period of time and afterwards. So, and the next question I know too is dealing with what was it like when you came home? Okay, well, when we came home during that era, we came home as individuals, not units. So consequently, you kind of got rid of your clothes, your army duffs, and transitioned into civilian. Well, it was kind of tough, and my wife would probably say that as well, because you're used to a teamwork, you're used to your own individual stuff, accountability to other members that you get so close to. So, and again, you didn't talk about it because of the conflicts and the way people felt during that period of time. So it took a while to kind of transition back, because you were expected to just melt right into the civilian life, which is not easy, because civilian life is pretty much a one-on-one. Military, it's all teamwork, and you don't have a choice. So.
If someone were to write your legacy 100 years from now, what would you want it to be?
Well, I would say that serving not only God, country, family, community, and making difference in people's lives. And again, through my profession, I have been very fortunate that I've been able to positively affect people's lives, families' lives, and also giving back. Again, the more you give, the more you receive. I've found that over the years that you have to be a giver and not always a taker.
Is there anything else you would like us to know before we finish?
Well, I think the program that St. Paul's got here is a super program, because we need young leaders going forward, number one. I've always had a saying, and my children and grandkids also know that I always have said, if it's to be, it's up to me, but I can't do it alone. It takes a teamwork. It takes us all together working to make a very successful situation. And that's whether you're serving your family, your country, your God, your community. It all comes together. And that's where we all have to be together. So, good questions.